Sistas, Bonafide. Sistas, Bonafide. Sistas, Bonafide. I got my sister and me.
Hey Sistas Bonafide family, welcome back to our channel. Now this is our first video of the year 2023, so we hope that your year is off to a great start. Yes. Okay, so we are actually here today to talk about some, I guess, ways that we have, discovered that we want to be better for this year, things that we want to do and implement in our lives that will make 2023 and beyond better for us. Okay, yeah. So Steph and I, we both have our top 5 ways each that we want to, things that we want to put into practice and for the new year. So let's get started. Let's not waste any more time, girl. You want to go first?
So the first thing that I have, I wrote my list down. These things here are not just things that I noticed. Like, these are things that I feel like I've come to terms with, just like growth over the last couple of years, like personally, and just like things I feel like I observe in ways I feel like everybody could just do better. Like, it could be helpful at some point. So the first thing I have on my list is like, happiness can be simple. Yes. And basically, like, I realized we often, try to find happiness in things that take a lot of effort, right. And oftentimes we spend so much time trying to do things and plan things and make these big experiences happen, but then we're still left feeling unfulfilled. Mm-hmm. So basically, like, just what I've realized over the last few years is that there's just like happiness and simplicity and, laughter, meaningful conversations, being home with your family, something that I've experienced recently, and I didn't even know like how good I felt after, just like spending the day at home with my daughter and my husband playing board games all day. Like, we didn't have to go nowhere. We didn't have to spend no money. We didn't have to do anything more than what was already in the comfort of what we had, which was basically each other, And I sometimes feel like we don't take time to really have those type of days and really understand, like, wow, like, I had such a good day. Like, I feel fulfilled emotionally and like mentally, which I feel like sometimes like experiences can't give us. I know a lot of people say like life is about experiences, but I feel like sometimes we need to like reshape the way we actually think about that and like what that means for us. Even, just listening to music or reading a book that feeds your soul. So just like happiness can be simple. It doesn't always have to be grand,
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I agree with that. That's, that's definitely something, because we lose sight of just the simple things in life and just trying to always find ways to be happy. And I think definitely simplicity is the key to that. So that's perfect. So for me, the first thing I have on my list, and this is something that I think can be universal, like people can use this as a way to move forward after realizing that a relationship that you've been trying to work on just isn't working. So I think one of the things that I put on my list is like, you can allow yourself to grieve a relationship with someone that is still here on earth. Like, you can, it's like I said, personally, I've been experiencing this lately, and I feel like this is something that hits home for me because, I think we belabor the point sometimes of like trying to, work on something, work on a relationship. And it's always, sometimes it's a one-sided thing. You know what I mean? And it's not something that, both parties are interested in trying to recover or trying to, to make better or, trying to improve the relationship. So it's like, sometimes you have to just say, this is what it is. There's really no coming back from it. And there's no love lost, but at the same time, it is sometimes a sense of grief because you are, detaching yourself from what was, especially if you have a close bond with that person, whatever the case is. But it's allowing yourself to understand that like grief comes in different shapes and forms. And to me, like when you acknowledge that this, like something like this, losing someone or losing a relationship with someone that is still here on earth is a sense of grief, it does kind of put things into perspective, because it kind of allows you to just cut it where it is. That's my thing, just allowing yourself to grieve a relationship, whatever it may be, whatever situation it may be, and just moving on from it. And that's, sometimes it's hard. Of course, it's very hard. Grief is hard, but it's necessary to kind of put it into that perspective. So that is my first thing.
I love that. I feel like I feel like rarely we think about it in that way. Like, and I love that. Like, grieving doesn't only come from losing like your lost loved ones, that who aren't here. Like, and I think that's like an ingenious perspective. I want to mention too, like, Eb and I have not like conversed about what we have written down. Like, so I think I love that about this video. I have no idea what Eb's going to say. She has no idea what I'm going to say. And I think that's super cool. So, I'm genuinely like receiving what she's saying and processing it with you guys as we make this video. So this second point I have, and these are in no specific order. This second point I have, I think like, I want to say not now, but like when I was younger, I'm definitely guilty of. But this is something I see so much. Putting your business out there, subliminal messages, like especially on social media. And I feel like I know at some point I was guilty of that, like especially when I was younger. Like, somebody makes you feel away, you go and write a message, you put it on your status, you put it on your story or whatever. But I feel like, if it bothers you enough, like to say things and act the way about whatever situation is making you feel away, like just say what you have to say to that person. Do whatever you need to do to address it, make the changes you need to make, and move on. Like, stop spewing more and more negativity into your life, the way people view you. And like, just to me, if you're doing that, it's because you're bothered by it.
Exactly.
Stop putting your business all across social media. Address it. Clearly, you feel a way about it. And like, let's do better like that. Like, move on. I feel like, you can't tell people how to process, and some people use it as like a way to vent. And I understand that. But I feel like I've come to terms like with myself now, like that's definitely something like I have not done, I don't do, because I feel like I'm going to address it with you. I'm not going to me, it's like at some point becomes playing games, like agree to disagree or agree, but that's just, it's just so, it's childish at some point.
Oh my goodness.
Like,
you're so right, because it's like the amount of times you see that happening is just ridiculous. And I see it more so with like people that are older, like the older people,
that is
like
very true.
Facebook and stuff like that. I'm like, y'all are like over 50 and y'all over here putting these subliminal messages up instead of just talking to the person, outright, let's say, listen, I don't like what you did. And sometimes even if they did talk to that person and tell them what they felt, like that doesn't give you the pass to then put it on Facebook. Like, to me, or whatever social media outlet you use, to me, it's like there are certain things that you have to keep private.
Listen, we grown people. Just say what the hell you gotta say to somebody, or put it in your journal and to move on. And then like, I can't even go like, stop. I don't want to read your status. I don't want to read what you send in subliminal messages. It's like, come on. Like, it's so easy to bask in the negativity, but move on. Like, move on.
That's it. I totally agree. That's a great one. My next one is letting interactions simmer before you respond to them. Right? So, for example, right, like to say you have an interaction with someone, it could be somebody that you're close with, it could be a colleague or whoever, whatever. And it may not have started or ended the way that you planned it to be, to end or start, or it just took a turn for the worse, or whatever the case. It could even be a positive interaction. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's like, I feel like, even for me personally, like I tend to jump the gun with a response before saying, you know what, let me think about what this person said first before I respond. Because sometimes if I jump the gun, I'm not allowing myself to understand what that person is saying, and I can misunderstand it and then like create a larger problem that didn't even have to be. I think like taking a beat and just letting it simmer and deciding what to say, how to say it, because that's also a way of like communicating, is how you say things to people. And also deciding if you need to react at all, because not every reaction needs a reaction.
I love that. And that takes some growth, let me tell you. So if we trying to do better, that's definitely something that has to be implemented. I feel like that's actually kind of in the realm of like my next point, which is like sometimes we need to have more patience with people. To not feel away so quickly.
Yes.
That's what I have. I said sometimes when people act differently or they don't respond to us in a way that we're used to, we tend to take it personally. And so, like right away, it's like, oh, what's wrong with them? Or what's their problem? Or what they mean by that? And it's like, sometimes we have to give people more grace, like you never know what somebody's dealing with, what somebody's going through, and what happened to them just that moment before you spoke to them. And I bring up this point because it's something that I hope people have for me. It's like sometimes I know, like, I just give an example, there could be a moment where like maybe somebody will call you, but you just had a hectic moment. You just had a hectic or crazy interaction with somebody. You might seem short with that person, but it's nothing personal. And I feel like we're quick to always feel away. I feel like this is something I want to work on with people, because like I feel like I find myself, when you go through something, I find myself saying like, man, like, I know I don't feel myself today. I hope I didn't make anybody else feel away, or I hope I didn't make the people I love feel away, or maybe feel unwanted, or feel like I don't want to talk to them. So like the same grace I hope somebody gives me is like what I know I need to work on with others.
As you were talking, I've seen this like this diagram, or like this thing on like Instagram, where it's like you only know a portion of a person's day, like, right? Like you don't, like you see the person, like they could be smiling, or they could be just in a rut, or like something that just happened that is bothering them, but you don't know, that's only one part of their day, or their time. You don't know what happened before then, or what they're thinking about that's going to happen later on. So like you said, and I think you put it perfectly, it's like allowing that, giving that person enough grace to say, listen, maybe this is just not their moment right now for us to talk, and it's nothing personal against me. It's just, it's just what it is. Now, if you see it continuously happening, and, then it's, and it's somebody that you're close with, and like you said, it's somebody that you know that they're not typically like that, then maybe, you guys can have like a one-on-one and just say, hey, I just want to check in, because I've been noticing a pattern, blah, blah, blah. But like to jump the gun, and I see how, it dovetails into what I had just said, like to jump the gun and like make those assumptions is dangerous, and it could like blow something out of proportion. So I love that. My other one, I have a couple, let me see. It's similar to what I said before in a way, but so I said allowing myself to sit and acknowledge my emotions. So I feel like there are instances where I've either jumped the gun to react, or I'm not allowing myself to say, listen, I don't feel well today. Not trying to force myself to feel a certain way just to try to get through the day. Like if you don't feel right, or if something's wrong, acknowledge it. Listen, I'm not for it today. This is not me today. Like, I don't know how tomorrow's going to be, but for this very moment, it's not I'm not my normal ebony self. Like, this is not it. And acknowledging that. And it's, and knowing that it's okay, like, to sit with that emotion and to understand what's causing it. The one thing I will say though is Tabitha Brown says it best, because she's like, basically, I can't remember verbatim, basically she's saying, like, just because you're not having a good day, that don't mean you gotta treat everybody else as bad as you feel, so to speak.
That's
like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not having a good day, that's fine, but like, don't take it out on everybody else. Let nobody do nothing.
Exactly. Yes, I love that. And like you said, like, to not feel guilty about it. But I feel like that comes with like points we both just raised. Like, we're so, I feel like we spend a lot of time, you know, people pleasing too. Yes. And then it's like, you oftentimes be like, we it's easy for us to overlook how we feel and what we're going through, because we're so worried somebody might feel a way.
It's true.
And so you say, you know what, I don't want to create. So either you know, you stay silent. You know, you, like what you're saying we shouldn't do, not be vocal about how we honestly truly feel in that day, that week, that moment, or whatever it is. Exactly. And like, just open communication. Like, if we just communicated more and communicated better and didn't take everything personally, how much healthier would relationships be? So these are my last two. My last two that I have are like, I think, very important, like, for me, out of my list. So I have, stop putting down someone else's struggle because yours is worse. And I see that all the time. Like, we often, you know, try to compare struggles or have to be competitive. And then, you know, when someone is telling you about what they're going through, sometimes people feel the need to like mention what they've gone through, and it becomes a competition. Like, allow someone to feel their feelings, you know, without there being competition. What you go through and what that person goes through, that's your worst. That's their worst.
Yes. That's
you know what I'm saying? And we don't always have to insert ourselves, you know? And I feel like that's something that happens a lot. Our struggles are our own struggle. Sometimes, you know, like what we go through it's what we go through personally, and it's our own worst. And sometimes people don't understand that, you know, like, comparatively, or like maybe logically, you have two lives, and you can put it on a scale and you can say, well, like, I don't get why that person is so out of sorts, because look at everything I've been through. But what people tend to forget is that not everybody deals the same mentally and emotionally. Exactly. And that's where people lack compassion and understanding, you know? And that's so bothersome to me, you know? And I feel like, be more aware of what someone goes through and how they process it, and allow them to feel their feelings without invalidating them, you know?
I think we both have been in situations like that. And it's crazy how like someone will try to one up you over like something that's, it's so weird. Like, just like you said, just receive the information. Just sit back and listen. Be a listener instead of a responder all the time. You don't have to respond to everything.
And when you do respond, let it be in a helpful and healthy way.
One of my last ones is just something internally that I'm trying to put into practice, is saying, like, you can only take life one step at a time. Right? Yeah. You don't have to climb the entire staircase today. Like, they're just taking, as simple as that. Like, I don't even think I need to go on and on about it. Just taking life one day at a time. Putting a time limit or putting an age on certain accomplishments that you feel like you should be at in your life is so outdated to me. Like, oh, you should be at a certain point at age 25, or by 30 you should be this, or 40 you should be this. Who cares? There are people that are graduating from high school and college in their 60s, 70s, 80s, sometimes 90s. It's never too late.
Just listen, like, be having grace for others, and like you always say, be kind to yourself.
That's right.
You know? So I love that. Okay, so my final point, and child, this is something that's very personal to me. And I feel like this is like something like my motto going forward, like in my life, like something that'll be like a staple way that I deal with things. So like, I said, just because I don't address something, it doesn't mean I'm scared to. It means that I don't care to. And like, yes, like, come on with it. Yeah, people don't understand. Like, at this point in my life, I'm finding a lot more things like unworthy of addressing, you know? And like, I refuse to disturb my peace. And it's like, trust me, like, I don't feel like I'm prolonging the situation. I don't feel like I'm, you know, oh, it's not healthy if you don't address it. Sometimes it's healthy too, but sometimes it may not be healthy for me too.
Exactly.
You know, especially if I feel like it's not worthy enough for me to, you know? And I'm like, but trust and believe that in that process, I'm making the necessary changes. I'm making the necessary adjustments to move forward without you, or to change the way I move with you. And you don't need to know that I'm doing that. You'll know. You'll know.
Yep.
So I don't always have to address something, or like, one thing I'm tired of doing, Ev, is making people aware of, like, I'm tired of babysitting people. Like, why do I have to tell you about the way you're treating me?
It's true.
I'm not doing that anymore. Exactly. If you can't get yourself together, or I constantly have to make you aware of something, that means you take no initiative to think about how you're making other people feel. And so you're not somebody I want to deal with.
That's true.
And I'm like, I just don't care. Like, I'm good, and I'm gonna be good, and that's just gonna determine the way that I move with you going forward. And that is okay. It's okay for me. So it's okay. It may not be okay for you, but I'm not in the business anymore. If somebody's not giving back to you, or at least is showing you that they care to work on something, it ain't working. That's my last thing, girlfriend.
That is so true, because it's like, like, you shouldn't have to keep telling people, and people know what they doing. Like, I fail to believe that they like, oh, and sometimes generally you may not know, and you know, sometimes you have to check yourself. But if you constantly doing it, you're aware of what you're doing, and there should be no reason as to why you should have to constantly remind them, like, hey, I don't like how you're treating me. No, you know what you're doing, and I'm not going to keep reminding you. I'm just leave you alone, and I'm gonna do me. You keep doing you by yourself, and I'm doing like, that's it. Like, ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got the time.
My last one is a little short. It's a little mean, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it anyway.
Say it, girl.
We gotta normalize telling people to have the day that they deserve to have, instead of having a good day. Like, you know how, like, sometimes it's a natural reaction. Like, okay, have a good day. Like,
it's
not
true.
everybody deserves to have a good day. No,
exactly.
Because if you out here being mean and nasty to people, you talking to people how you want to talk to them, being disrespectful, you do not deserve to have a good day. Sorry, boo, you
that
don't.
Is so true.
Like, so now I'm gonna start telling people, have the day you deserve to have.
Right, like, have a day. I don't know what day it's gonna be, but just have it.
Whatever day it is.
Whatever day it
may
is.
not have to be a good day. If you don't deserve to have a good day, then you ain't having it. No,
I love it. Yeah, I swear, like, that's gonna be my judge. Listen, all right, have a good day. Have a day. I love
people
that.
Be like, some people are just so mean, and I'm like, yo, you don't deserve to say have a good day to them.
Right.
No. Have the day you deserve to have, and if you deserve to have a good day, then by all means, have a good day. But if you be out here being mean and nasty to people, no. I ain't gonna say have a bad day, but have a day you deserve to have. And that's that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Listen, we're gonna drop the mic right there, because I love that one. Oh my gosh. Listen, I feel like y'all, these gotta be 10 solid points. Like, if you guys have anything to add, anything we didn't touch on, if you agree or disagree, or you're going through one of these things currently, let us know in the comments. Be sure to add to this list. Let's just do better. And I mean, our first video back of 2023, like, we're back, that we're here, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah, wait, you gotta.
Oh yeah, right. It's been so long, I don't forgot. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and to hit that notification bell. Ding.
It's official. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Ding. Sistas Bonafide.